Yes, of course, Miss Fern. I got your note. I meant to come and see you.
He suffered such a blow off at school, losing one of the children that way.
I think everybody has been puzzled and worried and saddened.
I've never known any happening to puzzle so many people in so many ways. And I can help so few of them. I've just come from seeing Mrs. Dago. Of course, our first thought is of her. The rest of us are touched only lightly by this tragedy. She will have to live with it the rest of her days.
I know. Rhoda,
I have seen her several times. And each time she has asked me to find out from you if you have any possible clue as to where the penmanship medal might be.
Was it lost?
Yes. It wasn't with the body and has completely disappeared.
Oh, I didn't know of this.
Good morning, Miss Fern.
Good morning, Rhoda.
Mother, may I go outside and read my new book?
Of course, Rhoda.
It's shady there, and I can see you from the window, and you can watch me from the window, and I like to be where you can see me.
Is it a new book?
It's Alice in Wonderland, the one I got for a prize at Sunday school.
Well, I'll be here.
I'll be right there the whole time. Goodbye, Miss Fern.
It did occur to me that Rhoda might have told you a detail or two that she hadn't remembered when she talked with me. You see, she was the last to see the little Dago child alive.
Are you sure of that?
Yes. About an hour after we arrived at the estate, one of the older girls came on Rhoda and the Dago boy at the far edge of the grounds. The boy was upset and crying, and Rhoda was standing in front of him blocking his path. The older girl was among the trees and neither child saw her. She was about to intervene when Rhoda shoved the boy and snatched at his medal. But he broke away and ran in the direction of the old wharf where he was later found. Rhoda followed, not running, just walking along, taking her time, the older girl said.
Well, has it occurred to you that the older girl might not have been telling the truth?
That isn't at all likely. She was one of the monitors we'd appointed to keep an eye on the younger children. She's 15 and has been with us since kindergarten days. No, Mrs. Penmark, she was telling precisely what she saw. We know her well.
And this was the last time Claude was seen?
Yes, a little later, it might have been about noon. One of the guards saw Rhoda coming off the wharf. He yelled a warning, but by then she was back on the beach, so he let the matter go. The guard didn't identify the girl by name, but he said she was wearing a dress. And Rhoda was the only girl who wore a dress that day. At 1 o'clock, the lunch bell rang, and Claude was missing for the roll call. You know the rest, I think.
This is very serious. If Rhoda was on the wharf...
Not serious, really, when you've seen as much of how children behave as I have. Children conceal things from adults. Suppose Rhoda did follow the Dago boy onto the wharf. So many things could have happened quite innocently. He may have hidden in an old boathouse, and then when discovered, may have backed away from her and fallen in the water.
Yes, that could have happened.
Now Claude, although he looked frail, was an excellent swimmer, and of course Rhoda knew that. She would have expected him to swim ashore. How could she know that the treacherous pilings were the exact spot where he fell?
Well, no, she couldn't possibly.
Perhaps the thought in her mind when he fell in the water was that he'd ruin his new suit and she'd receive a scolding for it. When he didn't swim ashore at once, she may have thought with the logic of childhood that he was hiding from her. Later on, when it was too late to do anything, she was afraid to admit what had happened.
Then you think Rhoda knows more than she's admitting?
Yes, I think that, like many a frightened soldier, she deserted under fire. This is not a serious charge. Few of us are courageous and tested.
She has lied, though.
Is there any adult who hasn't lied?
Well, I shall question Rhoda.
I wish you would, so I doubt you'll know more than you already know.
Miss Verner, I wanted to ask you something. There was a large floral tribute at Claude's funeral sent by the children of the Fern School. I suppose the children must have all contributed to it, but I haven't been asked to pay my part.
The tribute wasn't nearly as expensive as the papers seem to think. The money has been collected and the flowers paid for.
Well, perhaps you telephoned me and I was out.
No, my dear. We thought you'd like to send flowers individually.
Why should we have sent flowers individually? Rhoda wasn't friendly with the boy, and my husband and I had never met the Dagos.
I don't know, my dear. There are three of us, you know, in a hurry to make decisions.
You make excuses for Rhoda, and then you admit that you didn't ask me to help pay for the flowers. Does this mean that in your mind, and in the minds of your sisters, there's some connection between Rhoda's presence on the wharf and the Dago boy's death?
I refuse to believe there is any connection.
And yet you have acted as if there were.
Yes, perhaps we have.
this is a terrible tragedy for Mrs. Daigle, as you say. She has lost her only child. But if there were any shadow over Rhoda from what has happened, I shall have to live under it, and my husband too. As for Rhoda, she would not be happy in her school next year.
No, she would not. And said she would not. It's best to make up her mind now that she will not be there.
Then there is a shadow over her. And you've already decided not to invite her back.
Yes, we have made that decision.
But you can't tell me why.
I think her behavior in the matter of the meadow would be sufficient explanation. She has no sense of fair play. She's a poor loser. She doesn't play the game.
But you're not saying there's any connection between Rhoda's presence on the wharf and the Daigle boy's death.
Of course not. Such a thought never entered our minds. I'm Mrs. Daigle. You don't have to let me in, you know. You realize I followed you. I'm a little drunk. I guess you never get a little drunk. You're all for good breeding. Now you, Mrs. Penmark, you've always had plenty. You're a superior person.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Oh, yeah. Father was rich. Rich Richard Bravo. I know. Me, I worked in a beauty parlor. Miss Fern used to come there. She looks down on me. Please, Mrs. Daigle. I was that grumpy blonde. Now I've gone and lost my boy, and I'm a wash. Everybody knows it. May I call you Christine?
Oh.
I realize you come from a high level of society. Probably made a debut and all. I always considered Christine to be such a gentleman. Hortense. Sounds fat. Yep. That's me. Hortense. My girl Hortense. That's what they used to sing. Hasn't got much sense. Let's write her name on the privy fence. Children can be so nasty, don't you think? You're so attractive, Christine. And you have such exquisite taste in clothes. But of course, you got ample of money to buy them. The reason I came here today is I asked Miss Fern how did Claude happen to lose the medal, and she won't tell me a thing. I don't know, Mrs. Daigle. Truly, you know more than you're telling. You're a sly one. Because of the school. You don't want the school to get a bad name now, do you? But you know more than you're telling, Miss Butter Wouldn't Melt Fern. Something funny about the whole thing. I have said so over and over to Mr. Davis. He married quite late, you know, in his 40s. Of course, I wasn't exactly what the fellows call a spring chicken now either. We won't have any more children. No more. I can't sleep. I lie awake, and I look out on the water where he went down. There's something funny about the whole thing, Christine. I heard your little girl was the last one who saw him alive. Will you talk to her and ask her about those last few minutes and let me know what she says? Yes. Maybe she knows something. Any little thing, I don't care how small, no matter how small it is. You want to know something? Miss Fern dyes her hair. She knows something. And she's not telling. Oh, my poor Claude. What did they do to you?
Oh, I will ask Rhoda Hortense if only I knew something.
Somebody took the medal from around his neck, Christine. Couldn't come off by accident. I put it on myself. It was no accident. You can wear such simple things, can't you? I never could wear simple things. Couldn't even buy them. When I got them home, they didn't look so simple. He was such a lovely, dear little boy. Said I was a sweetheart. He said he was going to marry me when he grew up. I used to laugh and say, you'll forget about me long before then. you'll find a prettier girl. You marry her instead. You know what he said then? He said, no, I won't. Because there's not a prettier girl in the whole world than you are. Oh. Oh. If you don't believe me, ask the girl who comes and cleans. She was present at the time. Why do you put your arms around me? You don't care about me. You don't give a damn about me. You're a superior person. And me, I'm just, oh my God, forgive me. There were those bruises on his hand. And that peculiar crescent-shaped mark on his forehead, the undertaker covered up. He must have bled before he died. What the doctor said. And where's the medal? Who took the medal? I demand to know what happened to the penmanship medal. If I knew that, I'd have a better idea of what happened. I don't know why you took it upon yourself to put your arms around me. I'm as good as you are. And my Claude is better than your girl. He won the medal. And she didn't. I'm drunk. It's a pleasure to stay drunk when your little boy's been killed. Maybe I better lay down.
Hortense, maybe you should lay down at home.
Sure. Why not? Why not go home and lay down? Goodbye, all. Who really cares what you think? I just polished off half a bottle of whiskey by myself. I'm drunk as holy hell.
That poor woman.
I tried to think of any little thing I could to tell her, but nothing else.